We've been friends for quite a few years now. Huh. Have we? Have we? Have we been friends? We have, yes.
We're in the Beaty Butte allotment in eastern Oregon. This is typical of this area. It's sagebrush steppe. This particular area we're headed up to is a spring, which gets a fair amount of use from horses and livestock and wildlife. So I've seen a lot of things over 3 decades, but Beaty Butte allotment and this area is still considered to be pristine sage-grouse habitat. Like I said, we have a wild horse herd here. We've tried to manage the numbers to keep them down to a level that allow them to be here year-round and not do too much damage to the spring sites. As you see, this area is pretty heavily grazed. We've had some very large horse herd numbers in the past. I think in 2015 they reached over 1,200 horses.
He was gathered off Beaty Buttes in 2015. They started him here. He's one of the first horses they started, and now he's a ranch horse.
The people and the horses are all intertwined in the fabric of this history of this area. The horse is really the symbol of the people who came here when it was nothing, and they were tough, and they had grit, and they had drive, and those things together are what you could say about those horses, and I think embody the spirit of this landscape.
But when they get to that large number, they can do some serious damage, because they're out here, as I said, year-round, and they need water, and this is where the water sources are. So they do a lot of damage during those high number years.
And it's not the horse's fault. The horses have to survive too. They're doing the best they can, but the mismanagement of them is destroying the ability of that ecosystem to rejuvenate itself. All the interested groups, from flower people to bird people to trail people to hunters, recognized the damage that was happening, and so by consensus, after about 2 years, the wild horses were the major issue. There were several ideas about what to do, but the one John Kiley came up with we thought was the most sustainable.
We start moving them around. When they turn into you, that's a good sign. It means they're paying attention.
The reason we started the Beaty Buttes training facility is wild horse numbers were really growing, and we were trying to figure out a humane way to deal with the numbers of the wild horses on the Beaty Buttes. And we talked to the local BLM, and they basically said they liked the idea of having a training facility here at Nadell, that we could hire professional people to manage the horses, to train the horses, and then get them adopted.
The first time, if you get one of these, that's a big win. And I'll, as soon as I get that, I'll quit working with them.
This program's unique in a couple of aspects. It involves local folks that aren't necessarily wild horse advocates doing this work. The other aspect that is really interesting with this is the aspect of the facility helping with on-range management. That's not something BLM had really tried before. And so them being able to help us with bait trapping horses, help us kind of keep tabs on what's going on with the horses on the range has also been kind of a unique perspective to this agreement.
You're turning the horses over faster on the Beaty Buttes, keeping your numbers down, and it's just a win-win situation for everybody involved, for the people who get the horses, the taxpayer, and it really benefits the Beaty Buttes itself, because you're keeping the numbers at where they're supposed to be, so there is an explosion of horses.
If we want to talk about the facility in Nadell that started up, and their idea was very sound. If we could gather the horses in those numbers each year, bring in some, train them, sell them to the public, give them to the public, then that would be a good thing for this landscape, and a very viable program that would be affordable. Otherwise, we have to send horses to long-term holding. That costs a lot of money. Horses live for a long time.
This isn't an uncommon problem for the BLM. This program is underfunded. The majority of BLM's funding that we do have goes into paying to manage horses that have been taken off the range that cannot be adopted.
Right now, the horse numbers are about 550, which is about twice what we'd like to see it. And you're starting to see some impacts here from all the extra horses that are here.
As far as I know, this is the most sustainable, maybe the only sustainable idea that is already saving the money from the few horses that we have adopted. And if they would implement this program and make it a success, then it could be replicated everywhere. I would imagine most local people would like to see the horses, they just can't tolerate the overpopulation.
You know, it's important, our Western culture, I guess, the people who live in these rural communities, to stay attached to the horses, that know that they're there, that there's a system for them, that they're being protected, and that the local people love the wild horses just as much as, you know, anybody.
What's this horse's? Does it have a name?
Oli.
Oli. Oli, you're a pretty horse.